Hello?
I think it's
Hello?
like though in the courthouse, I think it picks up on the recording, but it doesn't amplify your voice.
Oh,
So it's just
okay.
for the benefit of the recording.
Gotcha.
Boom shakalaka boom.
I haven't seen it.
So I don't know.
I've never, I don't think I've ever done a
You would think
Okay.
the police wanted to shut
meeting.
it.
All of it. Yeah.
Or somebody.
We have reached 6:30.
All right, it's 6:30, so we'll convene the July 22nd meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Roll call, Kim?
I have it.
Everybody review the minutes?
I would move the minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none? Minutes approved?
Aye.
Aye. As well. Next is public comment period for what's not on the agenda tonight. Is a public hearing scheduled. You're the applicant?
Just me?
With the sign.
Yeah. All right. Last time I had to wait like 3 hours.
Just us.
Okay, so, look, we don't have a, so this evening, we need, there's normally a board of what, 6?
Yes.
So we've got 5. So you have an option. I mean, as far as our action tonight, we can either postpone because we need we need a majority to make a motion.
We actually need 4 out
We
of
need
5.
we need a 4 out of 5. So if we have any kind of dissent. So I want you to be aware of that. I mean, a public hearing will continue with, because it's scheduled, but as the applicant, just for you to,
I'm here.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be happy to, present what we have for you. So.
Okay. All right, very good. Well, okay, so tonight, the public hearing scheduled is a request from the Aver Sign Company on behalf of Jamer Enterprises LLC for variances to section 7-17, signs table 7-17.3 for canopy sign logo and lettering height at the Marathon gas station at 373 Lake Nepson Road. Can we do a little overview?
Yes, absolutely. Hello again, everybody. Ben Keller, one of your 2 planning consultants. It's myself and Alex. I'm here on Thursdays, Alex on Tuesdays, and our plan is that I'll probably do ZBA meetings unless we have some crazy high-profile requests. Then maybe Alex will come in, and Alex is handling all the planning commission meetings right now.
Okay.
So, as you all know, we've got a request from Aver Sign Company. The subject parcel is 373 Lake Nepessing Road, and they are requesting a variance from section 7-1705, awnings and canopy signage, maximum size, and our standard there states that letters and logos on awnings and canopies may only be 15 inches in height maximum. And the request from the applicant is to allow for signage that is 48-inch tall logos and 29-inch tall lettering. We can see here our subject property is located right on the edge of the west city limits, right off I-69 on Lake Nepessing. There's a pointer, there we go. So facts to be aware of, as I clued you in on a little bit. The memo introduction, which I have highlighted here, and the first 3 facts in your variance analysis sheet are incorrect. So in 2022, the applicant applied for a variance at the same site, similar request, to allow for new 15-inch printed lettering on the Marathon gas station canopy. At that time, I believe our standard was only 9 inches in height, since that's been amended. At that time, when they applied for the variance, existing on site was 18-inch tall pop-out lettering. This variance request was denied, and the applicant did not change the existing signage on site. We consider the existing signage on site to be legal, non-conforming signage. Originally, we believed that the applicant did indeed proceed with installing what they requested in 2022 without an approved sign permit, and like I said, after the ZBA denied their request. But further research into this and work between myself and Chris And I actually went out there and took a look at the current site conditions, allowed us to clear up this thought that after they were denied in 2022, they did not change the existing signage on site. I'm a little new in this planning role for Lapeer, and Chris is pretty new in his sign tech role for Aver. So obviously we didn't work on that 2022 request, so apologize that incorrect note's in your packet. So the major difference between what's in your packet and what is reality is legal nonconformity versus illegal nonconformity. Illegal nonconformity, the city might actually actively pursue to resolve that, while a legal nonconformity normally can stay as long as it's not expanded upon. So facts to be aware of, these are the same facts present in your variance analysis, page 1, that I'll go through real quick. So as I stated, the current signage on site is considered legal, non-conforming signage. 373 Lake Nipissing is currently used as a Marathon gas station with a supporting convenience store, and as I stated, it's I-2 industrial zoning. There are 2 existing gas station canopies on site. There's one on the east end of the property that's designated for trucks and diesel gas vehicles, and then there's one on the west end of the property that's designed for just regular personal automobiles. So on that east canopy, the applicant is proposing 2 48-inch tall Marathon logos. And then on the west canopy, the applicant is proposing those same 2 Marathon logos, but additionally they're proposing 29-inch tall Marathon lettering. So I know that's a little bit confusing to keep straight. It'll be much clearer once we show the proposed design sheets
Yeah, I have,
and see
and
each
I'm
sides.
good
Great, yeah, maybe at the end of this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then a comment that the applicant gave us, a general comment for their entire variance application. The applicant stated, we would like permission to mount the current brand, we would like permission to mount the standard brand graphics and signage at 373 Lake Nipissing Road. The current ordinance calls for channel letters and logos to be a maximum of 15 inches. The sides of our canopy on site are 42 inches tall, and the canopy is approximately 125 feet long on the frontage of Lake Nipissing there. We believe that the amount of signage relative to the fascia size is extremely small and unobtrusive. It's an unobtrusive amount of signage that would not be an eyesore or a burden on the community. In order to get graphics that would fall within the city's guidelines, the owner would need to delay the project for an undefined amount of time in order to purchase the signage that would be inordinately more expensive than the standard package the brand issues to its vendors. Here we have a street view of the site. So you can see here is their long frontage, and then here's that existing pop-out signage that they've got on site right now, there, and there you can see it. And then on our next sheet, we've got an overhead view of the site, so now it becomes a little bit clearer. 2 canopies on site. Here's the west canopy that's real close to Lake Nipissing, and then here's the east canopy that's a little bit more tucked in the site. So here's our east canopy design. Once again, this is the one that's closest to Lake Nipissing. I'm sorry, no, this is the one that's further from Lake Nipissing. Just 2 Marathon logos, both 48-inch tall and nothing else. And then on the west canopy, closer to Lake Nipissing, we've got those same 2 Marathon logos. And then we've got just the writing, their updated Marathon font style there. And then here's a more detailed sheet that shows us the proposed lettering, spelled out as Marathon, and then you can see here these dimensions state that the tallest point of this lettering is 29 inches tall. And then here we go with that same design plan for the logo, and you can see here once again that the logo proposed is 48 inches tall.
And as the key says up there, this is to be illuminated, a backlight.
I believe so.
Yeah, the signs are
Yeah.
illuminated from internally.
Right.
What we had proposed was the whole canopy to be backlit. It was what they call flex face, where like it's basically like kind of a canvas, it's printed and then it'd be lit from the back, but that was what was abandoned. And then now that sign would be illuminated with LEDs inside, and same thing with the Marathon, and I think there's like a hash mark that's the red and blue on the sign that's also illuminated.
So here we got our table that lives in section 1705, our schedule of sign regulations. We can see that for awnings and canopies, individual letters and logos shall not be larger than 15 inches from top to bottom. Once again, the variance request is from Article 7, 1705 to allow for 48-inch tall logos and 29-inch tall lettering. Sign variances are a little bit different than other variances. There's two sets of standards, and it's a little bit different about how the request has to meet each set. So for this first set of standards, sign variances may be granted if the request meets any one of the following conditions in section 72204F. So now I'll walk through each of those our standards and some analysis with each standard. So the first one is the applicant has demonstrated a variance is needed due to a practical difficulty on site, such as varied topography, horizontal or vertical road curvature, or the presence of structures or trees that limit the visibility of signage. Our finding in opposition is that the applicant did not provide any justification regarding a practical difficulty on site, resulting in the need for the variance. As you can tell, the site is a standard corner lot that's relatively close to the road, and there's very little existing landscaping on site, nothing that goes to impact the sign visibility of those canopies. Standard 2, a variance is warranted due to the relatively large size of the site, frontage, or building in comparison to other establishments in the same zoning district. Once again, in opposition, other nearby I-2 parcels are the same size, if not larger, with similar or more amounts of road frontage. And additionally, the structures in this district are traditionally further set back from the road than this structure. As we saw in the aerial, the structures on this site are pretty close to the road in this corner lot. And as you all know, most of our I-2 parcels are quite large and buildings are normally set back pretty far. So standard 3, the variance would significantly improve the conformity of existing signage. And once again, in opposition, the applicant has legal non-conforming signage on site, and approval of this variance would allow for this nonconformity to be increased to a higher degree of nonconformance. And 4, the variance would permit a sign with historical significance to be retained. Once again, in opposition, the canopy sign in question is a standard Marathon sign, Marathon gas station canopy signage. There does not appear to be any historical significance present. So as I stated, for a variance to be awarded, for a sign variance to be awarded, you have to meet one of those 4. And then now with part 2, if they met one of those 4, they would have to meet all 5 of this part 2. And these variance standards are a little bit closer to the traditional variance standards that we review. I'll walk through here. So once again, they got to meet one of the first set of standards, and they need to meet all of the second set. Standard 1, the ability to conform to the regulations is due to a practical difficulty or unique condition that includes more than mere inconvenience or mere inability to attain supposed higher financial return. In opposition, the applicant has not demonstrated any practical difficulty unique to the site that prohibits conformance with the standard. Number 2, that the alleged practical difficulty or unique condition are exceptional and peculiar to the property of the person requesting the variance. And once again, the applicant has not demonstrated any unique conditions or practical difficulty, and the site does not appear to face any challenges that require a variance. Standard 3, allowing the variance will result in substantial justice being done. In support, we have seen other applicants that have expressed financial or other challenges in complying with the standard. But in opposition, the applicant has not demonstrated a practical difficulty in complying. There is not an obvious practical difficulty in conforming to the standard due to the property's location and orientation to the right-of-way. As we said, there's a fair amount of frontage here. The variance granted is the minimum necessary to allow the applicant to enjoy the same rights as other establishments in the same zoning district. The applicant has not provided any information regarding why the 48-inch logos and 29-inch lettering provide a greater benefit over the required 15-inch logos, other than financial gain. I should say this is not exact. This kind of reads as though it's financial gain for advertising. and that's not necessarily the case. Of course, advertising would be slightly better with taller signage, but the difficulty that the applicant has expressed is that Marathon makes some standard signage, and deviating from that standard signage can be challenging for the property owner. The variance will not adversely affect health, safety, and welfare of the public. In support, the requested variance would replace an existing sign that does not appear to present any threat to health, safety, welfare of the public. Existing or proposed signage does not present any threat to the public at all, so it meets this standard. So in conclusion, it is the opinion of staff that the variance request be denied due to lack of adequate justification for the request. The application presented fails to meet any of the concerns, any of the standards in that first part 1 set of standards. And then the application fails to meet 3 of the standards in section 72204. Happy to answer any questions you might have as we move through.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So Ben, as it stands now, their legal non-conforming height on the lettering is 18 inches, is that correct
18
then?
inches, yeah.
And when they came before the ZBA before in 2022, at that time, the lettering height was 9 inches, correct?
The requirement
The
was 9
requirement was
inches.
9,
Yep,
and they were asking for 15 inches at that time, right?
correct.
And then it was changed, they was denied, and then the
18.
ZBA, the ordinance changed to
To
15.
15, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was
I know.
understanding that
Thank
correctly.
you for that question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question too, Jeff.
Yeah, sure.
So then when the ordinance changed to 15, is that when they got their sign and they made it 18, 3 inches above?
No, it's been 18 for a long time, and it was not changed. And they applied for that variance because they wanted to just freshen the signage on site. And I think that probably the standard signage that Marathon was using just happened to be smaller than, so they would have gone from 18 to 15. That was never changed, though.
Can I say one thing though? I just wanted to be clear. We've not done any work with this site. Not in 2022, not now, not ever.
Because you're a new owner or you're
Well,
new.
I mean, we came for the variance, I guess, in 2022. I wasn't in this position. I worked for the company, but not in this position.
Okay.
So we came for the variance, and we were told at the time that the ordinance was gonna be changing soon, so it'd be better just to probably just wait till the ordinance changed. So they did, and then the owner kind of abandoned the project. And now they have a new brand standard, so they're basically like, you have to upgrade, here's the new package, so here we are.
Just for reference, can you guys, I can't remember from whether it's the new WOW gas station or the new Murphy, their logo,
Mm-hmm.
those were still within our parameters, or there exceptions, or were those variances?
I know for a fact that WOW,
I don't think so, right?
I've worked a lot on WOW. I know that WOW is in conformance with our 15-inch. I'm not sure about that other site.
I believe Murphy is, but I can't confirm it. I just drove by and visually.
records.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I don't either.
them coming before the board here to ask for a variance. I know they were with the site plan before the planning commission, but I don't think they've been here.
If
So I
could
think
ask-
I think it's within conforming. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're okay. Sorry, I didn't let you finish. I just had a question about the canopy height. Is
Mhm.
there a limit on that?
I
The
do not.
banner height?
Yeah, right, the height of that blank space. that we were
Correct.
outside. I do not believe that we have a height requirement. However, it's I mean, you can picture the amount of load that those supports are holding. So there are certainly some building code requirements that are gonna limit how tall anybody could design that to be, just frankly due to how much it's gonna weigh, and then the supports that need to go into the ground and all of that thing.
And then one more thing that you brought up during the pages is that their sign isn't supposed to be larger than that canopy space. Am I correct to
That
say
is,
that?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see it called out here, I may have missed it, but are they replacing the actual canopy or is it just the signage going on?
Just the signage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the existing canopy is 42 and the sign
Nice,
is
48, I believe. I think I had a typo. I think I put 42 in there. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's actually 48. It was unusually high.
The canopy is
Yeah, the
48.
canopy itself is 48 inches.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
almost positive.
Yep, I think so too, because that
Yeah.
logo, the intention of the logo is to take up most of
Well,
all
actually,
of
most
the
of them, it actually does overlap. That's what they call for. They do actually offer, like, I think 3 different sizes of the logos,
Okay.
but they only offer one size of the letters
Of
that
the
say
letters,
Marathon. That is the
okay.
main issue. So that means they have to be custom made, and that takes forever and is obviously quite expensive.
Yeah, and you're, the man, or the individual that you're representing would have to bear that cost.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
One more thing, this is the sign I was thinking about.
Yes.
The large sign, that's larger than the canopy.
I think
If I'm
actually the
reading
largest
this-
is 48 inches. I think it'd be about the same as the canopy. In most cases, it would overlap, but I'm pretty sure in this case, it would be the same. This is an unusually high canopy.
Well, that's-
Usually they're 32 to 36 inches. This one's 48. That's really high.
Yeah, Dwayne, that's what I was bringing up. So what we're saying is the 42 mentioned in the packet is wrong. It's actually
Is
48.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That
Yes,
was a typo.
that's
That's my
wrong.
mistake. I
So the
apologize.
current fascia is actually 48, not 42. That's in
Yes.
here.
Right.
Yes, I was going to point that out, but you brought it up. But yeah, I apologize.
Can you go back to that slide then with the drawings?
Absolutely.
So here's the east one, that would be east. East would be further from Lake Nipissing, so this would be the one that gets used for trucks and you can't see as much. Just 2 logos. And then here's the west, that you can see from Lake Nipissing, and I don't see a north arrow on this plan sheet, but I assume that this would be on Lake Nipissing side.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, righto.
Yeah, the other side, notice, doesn't have any signage on it. That's the side that faces the building.
Faces the building,
Yeah.
yes, okay. Got it.
So do the current
It does look a
existing
little bit higher.
canopies,
Yeah.
those are both 48, everything match height on that? Okay.
Yeah, existing is 48, and you're not proposing to change it?
No,
The,
no, no.
the canopy outside.
Now, that's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. You gotta do that, you have to tear everything down, change the stringers, all the supports. I used to be a sign installer, and then they made me the permit agent just a couple months ago, so that's why I know a little bit about that stuff.
So the reason I asked for that slide, I was just looking at this page here, just for, you know. So it looks like that M in the Marathon, the logo, breaks the edge and the top and bottom of the canopy. At least on this particular print,
I agree.
that's the proposed look, with the 48 inches, correct?
Yeah, I agree, Jeff, it does look like it overlaps from the edges.
So the trim,
If I may.
right, Jeff, the blue trim is
Right.
overlapping.
Right.
Which would be about the
But
difference
not
of
the
42 and
actual
48.
If I may, one more thing, this big M would be considered part of the lettering of the canopy, meaning it's quadrupled the size of limitations of 15 inches, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
What was your name?
Chris,
Chris. Did you want to add anything more? Public hearing before we close?
I think, I sort of said everything.
I did
can
open
say.
it earlier. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I mean, other than it being a competitive disadvantage and expensive to the customer, I don't really know where I am at. I do think that the canopies are not necessarily great visibility from the expressway, and I'm sure that's what he wants, is to draw in more trucks and things like that. I think that their issue is that they're not getting as much diesel as they were expecting. I don't know, maybe that's what their thinking is? I don't know.
So
Honestly,
why-
for sure.
This isn't the point of this meeting, but I'm just curious. I went up there the other day. So why is that Marathon, that pole mounted sign allowed? Was this old, I mean, it's not a monument mount, the gas price, the big sign right there?
Right, that was installed prior to us
It was.
amending the ordinance to
Yeah.
only permit so monument signs, so that's legal, non-conforming as well.
And I bring it up because when the argument would be, oh, it's a financial hardship. Well, you have that huge sign right there too. You can clearly see that. So I don't think that's really, I don't think they're hurting for, you can't, you can see the sign, you can see the gas price. I don't know what letter size those are, but those are pretty large. The red price, the gas price. So. All right, well, I will close, we have no public here, so
Yep.
I'm gonna close the public hearing and we'll deliberate up here.
I don't see how we get through any of the standards of the initial step that we have. I mean, I think that it's very clear that they don't meet any of those standards 1 through 4. I mean, I understand the financial situation, but that can't be something that we consider, so I don't think we get to step 2 because I don't think we have a standard that they meet. That's my opinion.
I agree. I just don't buy the argument that it's a hardship. I mean, that's standard answer, but I think, Claire, that's well over our ordinance.
In my opinion, knowing what I know about signs and what I'm seeing before me, I'm not opposed to the marathon lettering with the canopy. I don't like that huge sign. I just don't believe it's necessary.
Which side?
That big, huge 4-foot sign, I don't believe that conforms or is necessary. I don't mind the canopy lettering that's in place now. This, maybe the size is off, but that big, huge marathon M is the one I don't care for. That's overbearing and unnecessary in my opinion.
It's 48 inches tall.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
it's
And
way
it's 4 times the size of our,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you know,
I
our
don't mind
rule is
that.
15 inches. You're at 18 inches currently, which is over, but you're
Well, and-
conforming because it's prior.
Yeah, and the thing that's difficult for me is that, you know, and I'm not saying this is you or anything, but they
I'm not
came
taking
here
any of it
asking.
personally, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they came here last time and, 2 years ago and asked for 15 inches and we said no, it was 9 inches. And then when we changed it to 15 inches, they didn't take advantage of it. Now they're asking for like 29 inches for the lettering. So I don't see how we can do anything with this. That's my opinion.
I don't either. I mean, there's,
And at the time, I remember or part of the conversation is, well, we want people to see it right off the freeway.
Yeah, that was what was said.
Well, again, I mean, we're not, we can't get that huge monument sign like we used to do those, at the exits, those huge.
Yeah.
That's just, those are
Yeah.
thing of the past, thank God.
Well, we work on all the time. Just not in Lapeer.
I used to work for a sign company, I was up on top of those.
Oh, yeah.
And the other advantage is they are the only gas station out there, so when you get off the expressway,
Plus the freeway, they have those
Yeah.
signs now,
It's-
on 69, it says.
yeah,
It's well utilized.
yeah.
mhm.
I mean, I would like to say one thing though. Don't feel like they're just coming out to say, "Oh, can we be bigger?" That's
No.
just what the
Right.
what the
Sure.
brand
Companies,
says is
right.
necessary. Not,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. I'm just saying, don't think that it was like a personal thing where they're like, you know what, we can get a lot more now.
No.
That wasn't
Yeah.
the case.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably tried.
That's what Marathon says here. This is our logo now.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I would move to deny the variance requested by Aver Sign Company on behalf of, is it Jamar Enterprises LLC from section 7-17.05 to allow for 48-inch tall logos and 29-inch tall lettering on 2 gas station canopies at the Marathon Gas Station located at 373 Lake Nipissing Road, because it does not meet actually any of the standards in section 7-22.04G based upon the following finding of facts. So should I specifically reflect 1, or can I say all 4?
When you say the finding of fact.
Yeah, just.
I mean, isn't the findings of fact that it doesn't meet any of the standards?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
doesn't
I
meet
think-
any of the
okay.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
So,
We need a roll call?
Yeah,
Okay.
so Ken,
Yay. I'm sorry.
so it'd be a
Yeah.
yay to
Yeah.
deny.
Yay to deny,
So the
yeah.
motion is to deny, so yay.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yay to deny.
Catherine,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
and Dwayne.
yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you. I guess I'll see you next time.
We'll see.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Me too, thank you.
I think you made the drive up from Ferndale,
Other business?
It's a long drive.
Sure it is.
15 minutes or.
Yeah.
Any other cases? Do we have any correspondence within our, I didn't see any, but. Training reports, so we're invited, right, as ZBA at the August 12 special meeting?
I believe
Joint meeting?
everybody has responded, you're attending.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's August 12th at 5:30 at the community center.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Should be good, I think we got a lot out of that last time, I think. And I think it's good for all of us to be together.
Yeah, I think the interaction, you know, communication between all the boards, I think that's really good, so, yeah, I agree.
I think that we should bring it up. I really hope we talk as a group, because I still think there's, at the last meeting, the plan commission meeting, got pretty feisty there. You know, to inclusion of their questions, just around marijuana, you know. I think we're still dancing around some of these things, and we need to have more clarity as a group, as a city.
And cohesiveness.
Cohesiveness, yes.
I think it was about the communication in the sense that, you know, the planning commission, and I'm only saying this because I sit in the planning commission, the planning commission had made a request, and there was a consensus, and it was in the minutes, I believe. And that request, by the time, I don't know what happened to the request, because I wasn't a part of that, but I believe the moratorium got entered right after, like it got granted right after that. And I just think there was a disconnect between getting back to the planning commission officially that said, okay, there's a moratorium in effect, you know, we're not doing anything else at this time, you know, we'll get back to you. And that's just me, that's what I think happened. So I had said actually at the planning commission, I know it was a little, there was a lot of, maybe people were a little irritated, I guess, at the meeting, but I'm hoping at this public meeting where we're all together, that there's just discussion about, and maybe it's just, you know, not understanding like how the boards work, like if we make a motion, you know, is there any way we can have communicate? I would think there could be communication, maybe there's something that says we can't do that, but I think it would be helpful, almost like an educational session for the boards to understand how they work together, not just independently in silos, but how we all work together to make sure we're doing what's best for the city.
And I think some of that,
So,
yes, I agree. And I think some of the frustration maybe was, it probably could have been minimized. I mean, that is, I think, well, the question was, okay, what are we doing with during the moratorium? You know, Mike is saying, well, I'm working on some things. So what are those? You know, what are you working on so we can talk about it? You know, what before it's before us? I think is the way I read some of that. Like, okay, well, you sit here, just tell us what you're doing, you know. And maybe that didn't happen, and I think, you know, needs to happen. So hopefully this meeting.
All I will state is that Jason did send an official memo from conveying the planning commission's motion to the city commission in January.
okay. I don't know if that was relayed like that at the planning commission this last time, because I didn't understand what the mode of that got passed on to the city commission.
It was on the city commission agenda as correspondence.
Okay, okay,
So Jason did what he was supposed to do.
okay.
Okay.
I'm in the dark on.
Does that reflect in the minutes from the planning commission January? And then what minutes, what does it reflect in the
So
city
the
commission?
January planning commission minutes, and then it is in the packet of the city commission,
What
the
month? February?
following meeting,
Okay.
probably I think the second meeting, it's as correspondence, and the agenda, and in the minutes as received.
Do you guys have any, I mean, maybe we should think of this before we convene at that meeting, but any issues that maybe we should bring up collectively or as a group? At that meeting, as a ZBA, what do we want more clarity on? What are our wants?
Well, I think there's been some changes to the ordinance in the last couple of years, like we have the new sign ordinance. I don't know, I mean, we've got a lot of new people here that were not in 2022. I think it would be helpful to have some, maybe an update on what those changes to the ordinance are so that we're better able to be effective zoning board members. I don't know.
And that information would be on the City of Lapeer website, probably, under sign ordinance, if we so chose to look into it.
But the ordinance is so big.
That's true.
I think it
That
would be
is
nice to
true.
have like an outline of all the,
A
like
rough
highlight all the changes, yeah.
Yeah, a rough outline would be good, especially like me, I'm 6 months in maybe, not quite a year. And I
Well, I
am
believe
working on
the
trying to
agenda is
get,
being done by Alex and Mr. Womack
okay,
For the
for
August
the
12th.
joint meeting, yes.
yeah,
So I can pass that on verbally or
Mhm.
by email,
So
that suggestion.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
just a rough draft maybe of the basic stuff.
Yes, summarize, recent
Summarize.
ordinance changes.
Yeah.
easy to do.
So, I mean, even, I guess even the DDA has to deal with sign issues, but I mean, definitely, I think, you know, the sign issue comes up in the planning commission and the city commission and here, so that would be a topic I would think that would be a good topic for a joint meeting like that.
Isn't it amazing over the years? I was telling somebody in my office, this room, we can fill this room when we talk about signs.
Right.
Probably more than anything I've ever seen.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's weird how signage is such a big deal in this, anywhere really, any community.
Yeah, it's definitely been a
Well,
hot
it's like the
topic.
headline on the article. So
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
important.
Well, remember-
It's important. It's
Gosh, how
what
many
gets
years
you
ago
in
was
or
that
gets you
where
out.
McDonald's, remember when McDonald's was remodeling up in 24? Oh, but we need to see our sign. I'm like, I didn't think, I don't know who said it. Someone on the planning commission was a great comment, but, well, are you saying you're gonna go out of business, McDonald's, if you don't have that sign? Really?
Right.
I mean, to that argument of, well, there's a hill there and you can't really see, versus the monument sign. And then I think they kind of skirted that still, didn't they?
Hard to say. It's been
I
there
know
for
the
40
CDA has
years.
a history of being pretty strict on enforcing the ordinance.
Yeah.
I remember
As it has evolved
And then
over
there's
the
a
years.
discussion of the Arby's sign. Oh, that's
Yeah.
historical.
Yeah,
Well,
they
even
thought
the
about it.
Burger King
a
sign.
landmark.
I mean,
Yeah.
those have, but I remember, I've been on the zoning board since, 1997. When Matt was still here as the city planner. And we were dealing with those kind of signs at that point where they were trying to I remember one time Burger King had a huge sign and they were just trying to reduce it to be, they were still non-conforming, but it looked nicer. And it wasn't allowed and they just, that's fine, we'll just keep it the way it is.
Right, Arby's is doing a remodel and they thought about changing the sign up and I made it very clear and sent emails and the minute you change that sign,
Yep.
and they're like, oh, never mind, we're leaving.
Right.
That's a great sign.
Can't take that slide down.
Okay, well,
Legal non-conforming is the word of the night.
Yes.
we'll this meeting at 7:07.
All right, are we adjourning?
Did you need a motion? Yeah, that's
Oh.
right, you need a formal motion.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry. We are adjourned.
Anywho, enough of that.
Enjoy the rest of your July.
Jeff, I have to show you something for all the people that make fun of that Lapeer sign down there.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah.
Do you
my-
have the copy of the time I made it a LeBeer sign?
No, but
I wanna
my
do that again
family,
this year.
like my immediate family was in town this week